Today, we're digging past the usual headlines you see about taxes and inflation. We're going to unpack a huge strategic shift in India's economic future, what you could call a massive, high-stakes gamble to completely redefine its place in the world.
This isn't just another budget. According to our source material, it's something much, much bigger. It signals the end of one economic era and the start of a far more ambitious one. So let's break down what's really going on here. So what we're looking at is a brand new economic roadmap, and it goes way beyond just short-term fixes. The whole focus is on technology, advanced manufacturing, and getting India, future ready. It's even being called a gold mine of opportunities for anyone who can see the bigger picture.
Now, to really get why this plan is so important, we first have to understand the core problem it's trying to solve. For decades, India has been stuck in this really dangerous trap. It produces a massive volume of stuff, but captures very little of the actual money. Let's look at pharmaceuticals, for instance. There's a reason India is called the world's pharmacy. The country produces an incredible 20% of all generic medicines on the entire planet. That's a huge volume, right?
But here's the thing. Even though India makes 1/5 of the world's generic drugs, when you look at the actual value, India gets a tiny 3.5% of the global pharma market. We're making the pills, sure, but other people are making the real money.
And you know what? This exact same pattern shows up everywhere. In semiconductors, we have 20% of the world's design engineers, but the valuable patents, they belong to foreign companies. We're building massive infrastructure, but we have to import the complex machinery to get it done. It's the same story over and over, high volume, low value.
So, what's the big plan to fix this? Well, the government has pinpointed 7 strategic sectors, or what they're calling choke points, in the global supply chain. The idea is to pour investment into these specific areas, shake things up, and finally move India up that value chain. So what exactly is a choke point? Think of it like a critical bottleneck in a supply chain. If you can control that bottleneck, you pretty much control the whole flow. And that's the goal of this entire strategy, to gain control over these specific economic points.
Okay, let's dive into that first choke point, pharma. On one side, you have generic drugs like paracetamol. They're simple chemical formulas, easy to copy, and the profits are razor thin. But on the other side, you have biologics like insulin. These are grown from living cells, they're super complex, they're protected by patents, and they bring in massive profits. So India is making a huge bet here. The goal is to shift from being the world's cheap generic shop to becoming a global hub for these high-tech biologics. A 10,000 crore investment is being pushed out to build all the expensive labs, bioreactors, and clinical trial sites that you need to even compete at this level. All right, next up is the second choke point, semiconductors. Look at the value chain here. It's got 4 stages. But notice something. The real money is all in the first 3, the design, the fabrication, and the equipment. That last stage, assembly and testing, well, that's labor-intensive and low value. And guess where India has traditionally been playing?
And here's that paradox again. Indian engineers are designing many of the world's most advanced chips, but they're doing it for foreign companies. The talent is right here, but the intellectual property and all the profits are going abroad. The new budget wants to flip this script by funding homegrown IP, from the very first design all the way to the finished product. Choke point number 3 is rare earth minerals. These are the elements that are absolutely vital for everything from electric vehicles to wind turbines. And right now, China has a near total monopoly on processing them, controlling almost 90% of the global supply. That gives them incredible strategic power. But here's the twist. India has the world's 5th largest reserves of these exact same minerals. For decades, we were just mining them and selling the raw material for pennies. The new plan? To build our own processing plants, break our dependency, and finally take control of our own resources.
And the strategy doesn't stop there. It's also targeting a bunch of other choke points, like building dedicated chemical parks to cut down on imports and manufacturing our own high-tech construction equipment. There's even a 10,000 crore rupee plan to break China's 85% dominance in shipping containers. You see the theme, right? It's the same across the board. Become a high-value, self-reliant manufacturer.
So let's say this incredibly ambitious plan actually works. What's the big payoff?
I mean, if India successfully breaks these 7 choke points, what does it really get? Well, the potential outcome is huge. We're talking about acquiring 3 economic superpowers.
Superpower number 1. By making high-value products like advanced chips and biologics, India could completely flip its trade balance. Instead of spending billions importing technology, it could become a net exporter, selling its own high-tech IP to the rest of the world. Number 2. This could lead to a much stronger rupee. Think about it. As our exports go up and we rely less on imports, global demand for the rupee would increase, and a stronger currency means lower inflation and more purchasing power for everyone in the country.
And the third superpower? The jobs. This whole strategy would shift the focus away from low-wage assembly line jobs to high-skill, high-paying careers in research, design, and precision engineering. That could drive up per capita income and create real, widespread prosperity.
It's a really powerful vision, isn't it? But, and this is a big but, a plan is only as good as its execution. And that brings us to the most critical, most difficult part of this entire story, the challenge ahead. This is the ultimate question, really. It's one thing to have a brilliant plan on paper, to announce these grand schemes. It's a whole other thing to actually make it happen on the ground.
And this quote from the source material just says it all. The ambition is massive, but so are the hurdles. The vision is to push India up the global value chain, but the path is full of bureaucracy and red tape. The only thing we can do now is watch and see if the execution can actually live up to this high-value gamble.